Welcome to Getting Started with PaymentEvolution Payroll. In today's session, we'll be talking about how you can go ahead and set up your organization, how you can set up your employees, and how you can perform pay runs so that your employees are paid on time. We'll also talk a little bit about how you can customize your payroll so that you can customize how your staff are getting paid. PaymentEvolution Payroll is available from any modern web browser. You can use the service to pay your Canadian staff in any province or any territory. When you first log into the system, this is the view that you will see. It's a dashboard view that allows you to take a look at any historical pay runs and any important dates that are for your organization. For example, this organization has a CRA remittance due on December 15th. You'll also see at the top of the screen a menu where you can run payroll. You can do things on top of the payroll process, like ending off the payroll period and sending data to your accounting system. You can close off the year. You can also take a look at any reports that are in the system. Pay run history or dynamic reports are all available from here. You can also go ahead and take a look at the employees in your organization, as well as do any setup for your organization as well on the gear icon on the far right hand side. Let's take a look at our company profile. When you first set up the service, we do need some important information about your company. For example, we do need to know your company name, an email address that you're going to use for login, as well as a password. We also do collect your CRA payroll number. It's important for us to go ahead and ensure that any remittances that are making to the CRA are allocated appropriately for your company. If you have any Quebec-based staff, we strongly recommend that you put in your Quebec business number so that you can go ahead and make remittance payments to Quebec as well. Payments Profile is a tab where you can go ahead and enter your account information if you're going to be doing electronic payments for your employees. This is the account that we will use to send money from so that your employees can get paid into their own bank accounts. Any account details are available from here as well. And if you do need to do any further setup, you can go into the gear icon and click on Payroll Options. In Payroll Options, we have the opportunity to set up any customizations for our organization. So you'll see here that I have a couple system options. I can go ahead and determine how often my staff are going to get paid. And here, this is where I can set up a template, if you will, for how our new employees are set up in the organization. So if most of my staff are going to be paid weekly, I'll go ahead and I'll set that option here. I can also set up the primary province for where most of my employees are based. In this case, I've chosen Ontario, so any new employee that I set up in the system will then go ahead and be set up for Ontario. You can also set up the remittance frequency for the CRA. You'll see here that I've got a monthly setup, but you can set it to whatever frequency that the CRA has told you that they have. We also support the ability to print out checks from the system. If you do have employees that need to be paid via check, you can set them up here. You can set up your check format. Checks are printed on any pre-printed check stock that you have. We will produce a file that you would use to send to your printer. Payroll Security is where you go ahead and set up custom PIN numbers so that you can authorize a pay run. I'll show you how to do that in just a second. You'll also have the opportunity to set up a custom general ledger. If you're not familiar with what a general ledger is, we definitely recommend talking to your accountant or a bookkeeper. But this would be where you would set up the mapping from your accounting system to PaymentEvolution Payroll so that your account codes will allow you to have those transactions and expenses automatically allocated in your accounting system. You can import those chart of accounts from third-party systems like Xero, Cashew, or Sasu. If I have any custom payrolls that I want to set up for my company, I can also do that here as well. Here you have the opportunity to set up any number of custom deductions, benefits, earnings, or any vacation amounts that you may want to customize for your organization. It's a pretty extensive way to set up how you're going to go ahead and pay your employees. So for example, I've got a number of deductions that are already pre-populated for my company. I've got a healthcare deduction that I can do. And you'll see here that there are a number of options that turn on and off different types of tax calculations. If you're not sure what those tax calculations should be, I would again recommend that you talk to your accountant or a bookkeeper. They'll be able to advise you on that. There's also a great guide on the Canada Revenue Agency's website of how you can go ahead and tax different types of deductions or different types of earnings as well. We can also set up any number of custom benefits in the system. And just like before, you'll see here that I have the opportunity to predefine or customize the name for a particular deduction. I can also set up if those different benefits are eligible to be taxed for CPP, EI, federal or provincial taxes. And even if I have to go ahead and report this on a custom T4 box, a year-end tax slip, I can set up a box number as well. I also have the opportunity to set up any number of custom earnings codes. You're probably familiar with the regular earnings that your employees make, the hourly or salary amounts that they have. But in your organization, you may also want to pay them for different activities that they do. So for example, if you run a warehouse and you have staff working in the warehouse at a different rate versus when they're working in the front office, you can go ahead and set up an earning code for the warehouse work and maybe another earning code for the front office work that they're doing. So you can set all that up here. You can even do some customized earnings codes like maybe an expense reimbursement that isn't taxed. You can go ahead and set those up here as well. I also have the opportunity to go ahead and set up custom vacation in the system as well. Typically in Canada, you're going to be providing at least 4% vacation, and you can either accrue or release that every time you do a pay run for an employee. You can set up a custom amount. You can set up 4, 6, 8%, or any amount that you prefer. Let's say your organization wants to do 10.6%. Just enter that custom vacation percentage here, and you can save the rule. Let's take a look at how we set up employees in the system. Just click on the Employees section, and this will allow you to see the employees that you have already in your service. If you need to add an employee, just click on the Add Employee button, and then you can go ahead and enter their information. Adding an employee is very similar to editing one, so I'll just show you very quickly what type of information we do gather for an employee. Standard things like their first name, last name, their social insurance number are things that you should be putting into the system. But you also should put in their date of birth and date of hire. The date of hire is important because we do a check to ensure that you're not trying to pay somebody before they've been hired in the service. We also have the ability for you to determine what type of employee this is. Most of the employees in your organization are going to be permanent employees, but you may also hire some temporary, maybe summer students. You can go ahead and set them up that way. A third type of employee that we have in the system is a special type. It's called a contractor. And these contractors or vendors that you may have in the system will not get taxed. So if you set them up as a contractor, we will then go ahead and allow you to run payments for them, but not necessarily take off any different deductions that are necessary for CPP or EI or tax federally or provincially. If you do also set them up as a contractor, we will generate the year-end tax forms. Typically a T4A that would be required for them will automatically generate for you. You also have the ability to go ahead and enter a position for the employee. And any important notes that you may want to keep as part of their record, those are available for you as well. You'll also see here that there is employee access. You can go ahead and give the employees their own online access to the service as well. If you set them up as an employee, they'll be able to log on at paychecker.com to view their historical payslips. You can also set up their password if you do need to assign a password for them. Or if they have an email address, you can go ahead and click on Email Login Details. And what that will do will send out a notification to the employee inviting them to use Paychecker and set up their own password to do so. We'll also gather their important information around address, so you can keep that as part of their employee profile. If you're going to be paying them directly into their bank account, you can go ahead and enter that information here as well. We strongly recommend that you gather a void check from the employee to ensure that you're entering the right digits for routing electronically to their bank account. Other information that you can do, you can go ahead and put in how much you're paying the employee. So under payroll details and rules, you can enter, let's say, their province of employment. You have their salary information. You can set them up as salaried or time-based. And you can go ahead and enter how much they're getting paid. Their hourly rate, daily rate, weekly rate, etc. You can set that up here as well. How often are they going to get paid? Weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, etc. And are you going to go ahead and set them up for automatic vacation calculations, 4, 6, 8%, or any of the custom amounts that you may have already set up in the payroll section. You also have the opportunity to set up a custom general ledger code for each employee. We often see companies using the service to go ahead and segment their employees. For example, if they want to do a costing around how much their salespeople cost versus their marketing people, you may want to set up GL codes accordingly. If your employees have custom TD1 exemption amounts, you can enter that here as well. We do recommend that you have your employees fill out a TD1 form that's available from the Canada Revenue Agency website at the start of every year. So enter their custom amounts here, And you can also set up exemptions from different government programs, tax exemptions, EI exemptions, CPP exemptions. They're all available from here as well. Benefits are also able to be assigned on a per employee basis. If you remember, we set up those custom benefits before at the company level. You can now go ahead and set them up for individual employees. And you'll see here that I've got an automobile benefit, $100 per pay run for this particular employee. I can also add any number of custom benefits that may be in the system as well. Likewise, I can also go ahead and set up any number of custom deductions in the system. I have a custom deduction here for dental at 2% of the gross salary that's already set up for this particular employee. If you're going to be coming in partway through a financial year or a fiscal year for your company and have already run payroll outside of PaymentEvolution, you can go ahead and carry over those numbers by modifying the employee's financial year-to-date values. You'll see here that we have a number of different things that we can enter. If you are carrying it over from another system, just modify the numbers here, put them in, and then we can then carry on calculations. And it's very important for particular programs like CPP and EI that have maximum contribution levels. We do want to ensure that we're doing the right calculations for your staff. So just go ahead and enter that financial year-to-date information for those employees. So that's editing an employee. If I do need to terminate an employee, I can also terminate an employee from here as well. I can just click on the terminate icon, and I can go ahead and determine and issue a record of employment from here as well. You'll see here that we're being asked, why are you terminating the employee? We use the same reason codes that Service Canada has for generating that record of employment. So let's go ahead and pop that in, terminate the employee, and we will generate a record of employment that you can upload to the Service Canada website. Let's go ahead and take a look at how we run payroll in the system. To do so, just click on the Run Payroll option, and you'll be first asked what cycle you're going to be performing for these employees. Most of the employees in our scenario here are all paid biweekly, but if I have any monthly, quarterly, or other cycle-based employees, I can run payroll for them as well. I'll need to enter the start and end dates. If you've used the payroll system before, those will be pre-populated for you. If it's your first time, you'll definitely want to go ahead and ensure that you put in the right start date. I'll click Submit, and the system will then determine who is eligible to be paid for that particular pay period. I've got 4 employees here, it's salaried employees, and you'll see here that we pre-calculate the salaries for them. All that looks good, so I'm just going to approve them, and once they're approved, I can then go ahead and add in any additional wages for employees. So for example, if Alistair here had earned a commission amount, I can enter that commission amount. If they've also earned, let's say, a bonus, I can enter a bonus amount as well. And when I submit, you'll see that that employee is now listed 3 times, once for the regular hours that I approved just earlier, as well as for the commission and bonus that I just added into their profile. So I have the opportunity to do that for every employee if necessary. So that's salaried employees. Let's take a look at our timesheets. For any of our time-based employees, we have the opportunity to go ahead and enter in the time or the hours that they've worked for that particular pay period. Here I've got 2 employees, and it's pre-populated the number of hours that I have in their profile. But if they've worked different hours, I can go ahead and just enter that as well. And the system will automatically update the totals for them. If I prefer not to enter the hours as a bulk number of hours, I can click on the daily view. It allows me to go ahead and enter the number of hours that they worked on a daily basis in the system. You also have the opportunity to import hours. So if you're keeping track of the hours in a spreadsheet or, let's say, a time clock system, you can import the hours here. Or if you're using a system to keep track of these hours, maybe one that we're connected to, like FreshBooks, you can go ahead and import the hours from there as well. Let's go ahead and click on Calculate. This is where we can go ahead and calculate the pay run for this particular set of employees. The system will ask me, do I want to use my company defaults for the calculation? I can say yes most of the time, but if there are any custom calculations like the one-time dental benefit that I need to do, I can go ahead and do that as well. Once I've calculated the pay run, I have the opportunity to review the payroll for all the employees, and you'll see here that they're listed out. But if I do need to drill down and take a look at a particular employee, I can do that as well. You'll see here that I've got the net amount for that employee, and then down below, I've got like a payslip view. How much are the deductions for the employee, the net amounts, all listed out for me nice and clearly. Once I'm ready, I can actually go ahead and issue the payments to the staff. In our scenario here, I've got every employee being paid directly into their bank account. I can set up the date that I want them paid. I can also determine which bank account it's going to be coming from in my organization. If I scroll down, I'll take a look and I can see each employee's amount that they're expected to receive in their bank account. And I'll also see here that the total amount for the cost of this pay run will be listed out for me as well. If I've turned on the optional PIN security that I showed you earlier, you'll be able to enter that PIN to finalize the pay run. Let's go ahead and finish this pay run. And here you can see that the pay run has been finalized. I've got a nice breakdown that shows me the wages, the remittance amounts, everything listed out for that pay run. On the left-hand side, I'll be able to see the CRA amounts. If I have any Quebec-based employees, you'll see the amount that's due to Revenue Quebec. If you've enrolled in our electronic payment system, you'll see down below the amounts that are going to be forwarded into the employee accounts, and any remittance amounts that are due will be automatically remitted to the relevant agencies for you as well. So that's running a payroll. Typically, you can run a payroll in under a minute for the system. If you have any additional things that you need to do, you can always go ahead and customize those pay runs as well. Here I can go ahead and click off end of period to close off the year end or the month end that I need to do. So I'm going to go ahead and close off the period, and when I do that, I can have those expenses directly pushed into my accounting system. The system will then go ahead and gather a general ledger report and push that out into my accounting system so that I can reconcile my expenses. That's all done automatically for me. If I need to see any reports in the system, I can go to the report menu and you'll see all the different types of reports that we have available. Journal or register reports are available, employee lists, e-pay reports for direct deposit, any number of reports. If I need to take a look at a pay run history, I can also do that as well. And you'll see here that I've got a list of all the pay runs that I've performed for my company. And if I need to go ahead and sort them, or if I need to do any additional analysis, I can export that as a spreadsheet or as a PDF if I need to share it as well. I can also take a look at a custom dynamic report as well. If I need to query any data that's in the system, I can go ahead and do that. Let's take a look at an insurable earnings report. I've got all that sorted out down below. It automatically did that for me. Here it's grouped by employee, but if I need to see that by pay date, I can just drag that into the menu and then I can go ahead and see it via the pay date. Again, just like before, I can export that information in a spreadsheet or a PDF if I need to look at that outside of the system. So that's running payroll and PaymentEvolution payroll. It's very simple to do, and once you've run a payroll, your employees are paid automatically with all the reports available to you. If you do need help, you can access our help by clicking on the help icon on the far right-hand side. You can enter a question and take a look at any of the documents or any of the forum support areas that we have to help you run payroll in the system. We also have listed a number of different videos that walk you through how to do common things that are in the system as well. Thanks for joining our session today. If you have any questions, you can also query and send a note to support@paymentevolution.com or give us a call at our office. Thanks again. Have a great day.